Welcome to Yadnya Investment Academy. As per the budget for the financial year 2017-18, there has been a change in the way income between 2.5 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees would be taxed. It would be taxed at 5%, which was 10% earlier. People earning between 50 lakh rupees to 1 crore would now have to pay an additional surcharge which would be charged at 10% and would be applicable on the tax that you are going to pay and not on your income. There would be no tax on your income up to 2.5 lakh rupees, and people earning more than 1 crore would continue paying a surcharge at 15%. Before we delve into examples, old and new rates for tax slabs is being shown here. Before and after tax rates for income from 0 to 2.5 lakh rupees would be 0%. For income from 2.5 to 5 lakh rupees, the earlier tax rate was 10%, but now it has been reduced to 5%. Before and after tax for income from 5 to 10 lakh rupees would continue to be 20%. And income above 10 lakh rupees continues to be taxed at 30%. Now let us see impact of change in taxation rate and surcharge with examples on your pocket, that is your take home pay. Our first example is of Mr. A, where his gross income is 3.5 lakh rupees. There would be no tax up to 2.5 lakh rupees on his income. His taxable income then works out to be 1 lakh rupees. Earlier, income from 2.5 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees was taxed at 10%, but now it would be taxed at 5%. So with the earlier tax slab, Mr. A's tax would work out to be 10,000 rupees, but now it works out to be only 5,000 rupees. With the financial budget for the year 2017-18, there has been a change in section 87A as well. Earlier, as per this section, if someone's gross income was up to 5 lakh rupees, he would get a tax rebate of 5,000 rupees on the tax payable. But now, someone earning up to 3.5 lakh rupees would get a tax rebate of 2,500 rupees. So as per the earlier tax rate and earlier tax rebate, the tax after rebate would work out to be 5,000 rupees on an income of 3.5 lakh rupees. But with the new tax rate and new tax rebate, the tax after rebate would work out to be 2,500 rupees on an income of 3.5 lakh rupees. There is no surcharge applicable for income up to 5 lakh rupees, but there is an educational cess and a higher education cess together, which work out to be 3% on the tax after rebate. So adding tax after rebate and the cess, the total tax earlier used to work out to be 5,150, but now it would work out to be 2,575 rupees for an income of 3.5 lakh rupees. Next example is of Mr. B, whose gross income is 4 lakh rupees. The basic exemption is 2.5. Taxable income 1.5. As explained in the earlier example, there are before and after figures for Mr. B as well, where you can see that the tax is reduced to half because the tax rate is 5% now. Tax rebate under section 87A was applicable for income up to 5 lakh rupees, which you can see in the before figures. 5,000 rupees of rebate is available for Mr. B, but now since his income is above 3.5 lakh rupees, he would not get any rebate. But even then, due to the reduced tax rate, his effective tax is lesser than earlier. After adding tax after rebate and education cess, Mr. B's earlier total tax would work out to be 10,300, but now with the reduced tax rate, it works out to be 7,725. Next example is of Mr. C. His gross income is 8 lakh rupees. Basic exemption 2.5. Taxable income 5.5. Tax slab rate remains same, 20% before and after. The tax is 85 before and 72.5 now, as his income from 2.5 to 5 lakh rupees would now be taxed at 5% and not 10% as earlier. This brings down his tax by 12,500 rupees. So for people who are in the tax bracket of 20 and above would now get a tax benefit of 12,500 rupees. Moreover, the cess and surcharge would be calculated on the tax after rebate. But again, there wouldn't be any rebate for income above 3.5 lakh rupees now. It was earlier also not applicable for people earning more than 5 lakh rupees. There is no surcharge applicable for this tax slab. The cess is calculated at 3% on the tax after rebate. So the before tax worked out to be 87,550 as per the earlier rates, but now with the new rate it works out to be 74,675. Next example is of Mr. D. His gross income is 25 lakh rupees, basic exemption 2.5, taxable income 22.5. As discussed in the earlier example of Mr. C, there wouldn't be any tax rebate after 3.5 lakh rupees, and till 50 lakh rupees there wouldn't be any surcharge. So Mr. D even would get a benefit of 12,500 rupees with the new tax rates. He falls in the tax bracket of 30%. With the new rates, his tax of 5.92 lakh rupees is reduced to 5.79 lakh rupees. Next example is of Mr. E. His gross income is 75 lakh rupees. He falls in the 30% tax bracket. Now, with the budget 2017-18, people earning more than 50 lakh rupees but up to 1 crore would have to pay an additional surcharge which would be applied at 10% on the tax after rebate. And due to this change, his total tax would increase from 21.37 to 23.36 lakhs. The next example is of Mr. F. His gross income is 1.25 crore. Now for people earning more than 1 crore, a surcharge at 15% on tax after rebate was even earlier applicable and would continue to remain so. There wouldn't be much change for Mr. F, but he would get a tax benefit of 12,500 rupees as income from 2.5 to 5 lakh rupees would now be taxed at 5%. Additionally, the surcharge and cess would now be applicable on the reduced amount. His effective tax has come down to 42.19 lakh rupees from 42.34. So friends, we now hope you know the impact of change in taxation rate and surcharge on your pocket. Thanks for watching this video. Watch this space for more such topics. Until then, happy investing. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section below our videos. And if you like our videos, please do subscribe. Thank you.